In this video, I want to share with you some tips on how to optimize blog posts for SEO to rank high in the search results. Each month, over 66% of the traffic that comes to my website comes through organic search. So if you're not optimizing your blog posts for SEO, you're missing out on thousands or even tens of thousands of website visitors. So why is SEO important? Well, social media is not producing the same amount of results in terms of driving traffic to websites as it used to. I know that my search results used to generate about 70% or more of the results actually came from social media traffic. So people that had seen my stuff on social media sites clicked on it and went to my website. That's no longer the case. Jay Baer, who's one of my favorite digital marketers, he believes that there's 4 factors that are responsible for this. The first one is the reduced use of social media overall. There's studies that have found that Americans are actually using social media less, especially Facebook. And this isn't just in America, this is all over the world. Jay also believes that the deprioritization of companies and organizations in the social algorithms is having a big impact on that. We know that Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and different social media platforms have rolled out changes in their algorithms that lessen the exposure of any kind of brands. So this is actually making for a better and healthier stream of content for us as individuals, but it's also impacting the number of clicks that we're getting from social media. The third reason is less exposure for posts containing links. I don't know about you, but I find that anytime that I post something about a link, I'm getting a lot more traffic to my posts. So if I post something on Facebook or LinkedIn, for example, it's not generating the same amount of engagement as it would be if I was posting something without a link. In fact, I participated in a study with Agora Pulse, a social media management platform, and they used my profile as well as a bunch of other profiles to analyze the results of what created the most engagement. So text posts, links, and graphics. And text posts, hands down, won in terms of engagement, views, interaction, so forth. So some of the algorithm changes in social media have really given more reach to video content and also to posts, to photo posts rather, but text posts tend to perform really, really well on most sites, specifically LinkedIn. More importantly, it's also giving posts containing links less priority, so they're just not being seen. So this is in fact reducing the amount of traffic that's coming from social media because of it. And the fourth and final reason is search indexing is more social. Search engines actually can index social media content within the results and actually will result in the traffic coming from Google or another search engine versus the social media site itself. In fact, the same period where Facebook referred traffic dropped, visits coming from Google increased by 21%. So this is more important than it's ever been before. So let's dive into the 10 steps to optimize blog posts for SEO. And basically all 10 of these are necessary if you really want to rank high in the search results. Our goal is always to rank on page 1 and preferably as high up on the page as possible. Now, in order to do that, length actually does matter for SEO. There's been so much controversy about, people have a short attention span and they're only interested in reading short, articles, snackables, bite-sized content. That's not true when it comes to articles. Google actually likes in-depth content and longer articles. 1,500 to 2,000 words is actually the sweet spot. This is what improves your Google search rankings. Now, of course, as long as it's high quality and SEO optimized content. People are much more likely to link to in-depth content. And of course, those backlinks are another determining factor in how Google's going to rank you. So the more meaty, the more substantial, the more high value the content is, the more likely people are going to link to it as a resource. So step number 1, this is very important. You need to optimize your blog posts for keywords. So you want to do some keyword research to determine exactly what that keyword should be. You want to choose one primary keyword phrase to optimize your blog post for. Now, it's got to be a phrase that people search for, but not too competitive. You're not going to be able to rank for a super competitive term. So you've got to think of a term that you can actually have the chance of ranking in the first page of the search results for. Once you've chosen that keyword, there's going to be a number of places that you're going to put it all throughout your blog post. So for example, your title is the very first place. Your title is called an H1 header. This might sound a little bit technical, but that's what it is in SEO language. Okay, so your title needs to include the specific keyword phrase that you're trying to rank for. The next thing that you need to do is you need to include keywords into subheaders. Now, subheaders are called H2 and H3 headers, and you want to make sure that you've got the specific keyword phrase that you've chosen in your subheaders. So if you've got an H2 header, you want to have it in there, and you also want to have keywords throughout the H3 headers. Each and every single blog post that you have needs to have at least one H2 header that includes your keyword phrase. The fourth step is to include your keyword phrase throughout your blog post. So some of the places that you're going to do this is you're going to include it in the first paragraph of your blog. You also want to include it throughout the body of your blog post, and you want to end with a final paragraph that includes your keyword phrase. It's also really important to optimize your images. Now, your images have a name, they have alt text, and they can include a caption. So you want to, each and every image that you put into your blog post, have an image name that's based on a keyword, whether it's the keyword for your actual blog post or another keyword if you're going to have multiple images in there. You want to have alt text in there that describes what the image is. And when relevant, you can include a caption. Now, for every single blog post that I do, I have a cover image. And in that cover image, I have the title of my blog post. I name that cover image the keyword for my blog. So you want to make sure that at least one of your images has the name of the keyword phrase that you're optimizing your blog post for. The sixth step is to optimize the meta description. This is the little snippet that shows up on the search results underneath the blog title and the URL. This is what people are going to see that's going to actually encourage them to click on the article. So within your blog post, when you're optimizing it, after it's all loaded into your website, you want to then make sure that you update the meta description and include your keyword in here. This is just a short summary of what your blog post is about. If you don't add a meta description, Google will display a random snippet of what you've written, and it might not include your keyword in it. The next thing that you want to do is you want to add tags. Now, tags are essentially keywords. So as you optimize your blog post for your one primary keyword, you're going to have some other relevant keywords in there. I call these secondary keywords, but WordPress or your website calls them tags. So just think of tags as keywords. Now, you don't want to optimize your blog post for short keywords. So for example, SEO or content or social media, none of those keywords would I ever be able to rank for, but I could rank for a longer keyword term. So for example, does blog post matter for SEO? That's a longer keyword phrase that I have the chance of potentially ranking for in the search results. So don't choose keywords that are too competitive, and make sure that you add some supplementary keywords throughout your blog post and add them in the tag section. The eighth step is to optimize your URL. So whatever your title is, your website, especially if you're using WordPress, it's going to pull that title as the URL for your blog post. Sometimes our titles can be very long and you might want to shorten it. You can edit the actual URL for your blog when you're uploading it into WordPress. One of the things that you want to do is you want to make sure that your keyword is in there. So if you've got some extra words in there, you can take them out and just make this shorter. So for example, the blog post that I'm doing this tutorial with is how to optimize blog posts for SEO. I've taken out the how-to because that's not part of my keyword in this particular article, and I've just made the URL optimize blog posts for SEO. The ninth thing that you want to do when you're optimizing your blog post is you want to include both internal and external links. So this is where you're going to link to some relevant articles or resources on other websites, so third-party websites, specifically, authority sites or sites that are credible. You want to be strategic when you're hyperlinking keywords and choose actual keywords that you're going to hyperlink to. And it's always important to open up the link in a new tab. So you want to select that little checkbox where you open the link in a new tab. So that way they're not going off to another website and leaving your website, so that your website still stays up on their browser. Now this part is a little bit techie, and for anybody who knows me, they know that I'm not a techie person. Sometimes we need to learn something that's a little techie and it's just kind of a one-time thing, and this is one of those things. You want to optimize your site for mobile. More and more people are viewing their websites from smartphones, from iPads and tablets, and so you want to make sure that your blog posts are mobile friendly. So a truly responsive site is one that the content, both the text, the images, videos, slideshows, everything's optimized for mobile devices. And in order to do that, you want to add accelerated mobile pages, which enables your site to have fast page rendering and content delivery. Now, you don't need to know what that's all about. Hire somebody to do that for you. Quite honestly, I don't even know what that's about. And that's something I just hire out because that's not something that I need to worry about. Now, one of the things that's important to do after you've uploaded your entire blog post into your website, and if you're using WordPress, there's a wonderful SEO plugin that you can use called Yoast. It's my favorite. It's what I use. And Yoast will actually show you how you've done in the optimization of your blog post. And if you've missed something, it's easy for you now to go back in and tweak that or change that to make sure that you're fully optimized. You want to make sure that you correct anything that's missing before publishing. The result of this is showing up on page 1. This is a blog post that I recently did, and within the first day of publishing it, it was showing up relatively close to the top of the search results on page 1. Day 1. This was day 1. So this is something that you can absolutely do. Of course, you can't do it with a highly competitive keyword, so you want to make sure that you're choosing the right ones. And the end result is there's going to be a lot more people finding you that never knew about you before. Each and every single month, like I said, 66 or more % of the people that are finding my website don't actually know who I am. They're just finding me through the organic search results and being introduced to me for the first time. Well, I can tell you this, that generates a lot of additional business into my company that we wouldn't have had otherwise. So yeah, I do a phenomenal job on LinkedIn. I generate a lot of business from LinkedIn, but why would I want to miss the opportunity that Google and other search engines can provide to me without doing anything, simply by optimizing my blog posts? Now, in order to become an authority on anything, you need to write content about it. You need to share videos. You need to position yourself as an authority, as a thought leader. And one of the best ways to do that, of course, is through articles and generate the additional benefits from that in terms of being found by more people. So now what I want to do is I want to recap everything that I've gone through and make sure that it's really super clear so that you understand exactly what to do. So this is actually a Word document that I had of this blog post, and I've created some notes along the side to make sure that every single thing that I could possibly think of to help you optimize your blog posts would be here. So just to recap, you want to choose one primary keyword to optimize your blog post for. The tags, consider those secondary keywords that you want to optimize for. Make sure your title, which is your H1 header, has your keyword in it. Your blog post image, especially that primary one, should be named the same as your keyword phrase. And include your keyword phrase throughout your blog post, including the first paragraph. Find areas that you can do an external link to. Maybe it's where you're quoting something, you're quoting a stat or something like that. You can link to the source for that. And early on in the blog post, tell them what they're going to learn. So this is more of a tip to have a blog post that's going to be more compelling. Tell them and then segue into the next section that you're going to be discussing. Your H3 header can also include some secondary keywords, and we'll get into the additional aspects of it, which is, of course, including it in various other places. Throughout your blog post, you're going to find sections that are going to include keywords where you've written other content about that. So for example, here I've got content marketing strategy. I'm going to link to another article where I've talked about content marketing strategy. This is going to allow people to see more of my content, and I'm hyperlinking that specific keyword. Make sure that your blog post has that minimum of one H2 header with your keyword in it. And then throughout, you can have those H3 headers that can include either your keyword, your primary keyword, or additional keywords. The optimization for your graphics is important, so make sure that you're naming them by specific keywords and that you're providing the alt text talking about what that image is all about. And here again, you can just see where I've optimized the H3 headers. I've added the primary keyword throughout my blog. Again, same thing here. So I'm just taking you through everything step by step so that you can actually see exactly how I lay out my blog posts before I upload them to WordPress. There's a lot of thought that goes into this, and it's important to have that thought. It's important to be strategic and plan these things out. Now, this is exactly what Yoast plugin, the SEO plugin, is going to show me. And it shows me here that everything that I've done is perfect, except for they think that my SEO title is too short. Well, I'm certainly not worried about that. I think that my SEO title is just fine. And this particular blog post that we're looking at was ranked on page 1 of Google the very first day that it was published. So it's not an issue. If you see something in here like that that's not relevant, don't worry about it, but make sure that you're seeing that it's providing good results. Now, here I want you to see how I've laid out a blog. These H2 headers and these H3 headers, they're really important for breaking up the text so that things aren't really, blocky. Some of the websites that I've looked at that have content, there's no bullets, there's no bolding, there's no subheaders, and it's really boring to read. People are scanners, so having a blog post laid out like this is really important to actually make sure people read your content. So this is in addition to the SEO. It's also really important how your blog post is laid out visually. People are scanners, so they're looking at those headers, those H2 and those H3 headers. They're looking at things that you've got bolded, bullets, or lists. So having it nicely laid out makes it much more readable and much more shareable. So people are going to share content when it's visually laid out properly. In your article, of course, you want to conclude with why this information is important, and then include your keyword in the last paragraph of your blog post. Now, this does take more time, but it produces exponentially better results. A lot of people will say, certain things take more time in the digital space, whether it's, personalizing things on LinkedIn or it's SEO optimizing your blog posts. But here's the thing, if you're not doing these things, you're actually wasting your time quite often because you're not producing the results. So yes, it is going to take more time to do this. You do need to plan more. You need to be more strategic. But it's going to increase your traffic. It's going to increase your leads. It's going to increase the amount of clients you generate, and of course, your sales. So this is really important. Take the time to optimize your blog posts, to do that keyword research and choose the right keyword so that people are able to find you organically in the search results. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my newsletter and YouTube channel, take a moment and do that now. Just go find me on YouTube and also go to Top Dog Social Media And subscribe to my newsletter to get weekly updates on the latest tips, trends, and strategies delivered right to your inbox.